Gypsy. Hey, I can't help it, you're a sweetheart. Defendant. Well then, would a sweetheart like a sweetie? Heart, winky face. Gypsy. I would, sweetie. Defendant. Then ask Daddy politely, sweetheart. Heart, winking face. Gypsy. May I have Daddy's sweetness, please? Defendant. Yes, you may, dear, but warning, once you taste it, you won't want anything. You'll be so addicted to it, darling. Heart, winking face, heart, smiling face. Anything else? Gypsy. I'm fine with being Daddy's little addict, winking face. Defendant. That's Daddy's girl, heart. Gypsy. LOL, laugh out loud. Defendant. Why the laughter, hon? Gypsy. Because I'm so happy. Defendant. That's a great reason, dear, heart. Gypsy. Smiley face, heart. Defendant. LOL, laugh out loud, heart, smiling face, heart. Gypsy. Sweetness, I'm going to go take my meds. Defendant. Okay, dear. Update, I'm in St. Louis, honey. Gypsy. Yay. Defendant. Yes, dear, heart. Update, sweetie, I am about to be on my way to Springfield, heart. Update, sweetheart, I'm on my way to Springfield now, heart, smiling face. Gypsy. My heart just leapt out now. Defendant. Why is that, hon? Because I want to know why, dear. I hope it's a good reason, dear, or you'll worry me. Please tell me soon, honey. You don't need me worried about you. Gypsy. Darling, it's 'cause I'm so happy. You're near, heart. I'm perfectly wonderful. Defendant. Okay, dear, I was scared for a moment there, but now I'm blissful, sweetie, heart, smiling face, heart. True, baby, I'm getting close, heart, smiling face. Gypsy. So am I, darling, heart. Defendant. Great, because that's always how I want you, honey, heart, smiling face. Gypsy. Try and get some sleep on the bus, hon. Defendant. Nah, I'll just get it at the hotel, sweetie, heart. Gypsy. Okay, darling, well, I'll check back later. I may sleep for a bit. I think you get to town at 5:15. Defendant. Okay, baby, you know I'll keep you updated, heart. Gypsy. Darling, I don't think the hotel takes check-ins until 11. Defendant. No, they do. I'll just have to pay a little bit more, hon. Just pay a bit more, hon. Gypsy. Okay, darling, good. BTW, or by the way, the taxi number is 417-862-5511. Defendant. Yes, sweetie, heart. And I'm walking to the hotel. I've done it before, and it saves money, heart. But thanks for the number, hon, heart. Defendant. Update. I'm in Springfield, baby. Heart, smiling face, heart. Gypsy. Yay. I was asleep, LOL, or laugh out loud. You're at the hotel, hon? Defendant. Yes, sweetie, but it was extra expensive. Gypsy. That's fine, hon, as long as you're safe. Defendant. I'm safe, hon, but I may barely make it to you tomorrow. I'm under $200. Gypsy. You'll make it. How much is a night tomorrow, hon? You're not far from me, maybe 4 miles. Defendant. Well, I had to pay $140 for one night because I was early, dear. Gypsy. Unless you want to do it tonight, like the late part of the night? Question mark. It would have to be. It's the only way to get you money and everything go like we planned. Defendant. 50 of the dollars I should get back, though, because it's a safety deposit, hon. It all matters on the soonest you want to see me, hon. Gypsy, tonight, hon, your mom is like pissed and worried. Call her. She messaged me to get you to call her now. Defendant, I already talked to her, dear. Everything is fine. You need to answer my question, though, honey, heart. Gypsy, I will text you. We are doing this tonight, hon. It won't be until later, like in the AM times, so get your rest, darling. Defendant, baby, should I still get the room tomorrow? Gypsy, well, we would have more money, so yes, hon, heart. Defendant, what about sneaking you in, dear? Gypsy, I will, hon. I am not forbidden from your room. Defendant, you mean we will, dear, heart. Baby, you won't be, heart. Gypsy, yes, we will, hun. Did you bring your computer, hun? If you look up where you're at and my house, we are close. Defendant, honey, you know I always bring my computer, heart. Gypsy, okay, good, hun. I just told your mom you're perfectly fine. Defendant, that's good, dear, heart. Gypsy, hun, does he require just the groves and knife? Defendant, hun, that side of me expects duct tape too to muffle her. Gypsy, okay, baby, we have that. I'll pre-cut it. Defendant, that's good, dear. However, he expects you to give him the full roll. Gypsy, I will. We only have black bondage tape and Minnie Mouse duct tape. Defendant, he said the Minnie Mouse duct tape, hon. Gypsy, okay, hon. Defendant, dear, I should ask you this before he has to. Is your mom a light or deep sleeper? Gypsy, light, hon. Defendant, okay, dear. Now he's excited. Gypsy, she sleeps on her tummy, like I said, but light sleeper, hon. The shit's gonna go down tonight, Ruby said. Defendant, what does she mean by that, dear? Please let me know as soon as you can, hon. Gypsy, it means it all happens tonight. Defendant, how does Ruby feel about it, hon? Gypsy, she keeps me numb in order to cope and survive, hon. Keeping me focused. Defendant, okay, dear, I guess she seems to be learning how to deal with him slowly then, heart. Gypsy, for motivation's sake, bring your A game, hon. This is life with me on the line. Yes, hon, each part is a slow lover and learner, maybe not candy. Defendant, babe, it's my evil side doing it. He won't mess up because he enjoys killing. Why you say that about candy, dear? Gypsy, she loves fast, LOL, or laugh out loud. Defendant, so she'll attach onto him instantly, dear? Yes, I mean my dom side, dear, heart. Gypsy, exactly, hon. Defendant, okay, baby, as long as it's only to him, then she would use other guys, or he will see to put her in her place quickly, dear, heart. Gypsy, that's right, hon, heart. Defendant, good, dear, heart. Baby, please make sure to read that last message and answer it, please, heart. Gypsy, hi, sweetie, just checking on ya. Defendant, hey, dear, I miss you too. heart. Guess you didn't have time to answer me, hon. This night is going by slow. Gypsy. Aw, I'm preparing. Defendant. I see. TTYL, talk to you later, I guess, hon. I say this because you're obviously busy. Gypsy. LOL, laugh out loud. Okay, baby. Defendant. Why the laughter? I don't get it. Defendant. No explanation, I see. Today is really falling apart. Wow. Obviously, you are not as lonely without me as I am without you, because you are not truly communicating with me, and you have no clue how painful it is to me, or you wouldn't be laughing at me, sad face. Gypsy. Darling, I'm getting naked in the tub. I was only excited. I'm not laughing at you, I'm just happy. I'm in the tub, hon. Defendant. Sorry, dear, I guess I'm just missing you too much. It's overwhelming me, heart. Gypsy. I left the gloves outside the front door and the screen door is squeaky, so try to open it just enough to get in and close it gentle. I miss you too soon, sweetheart. I'll hand him the knife and duct tape inside, darling. It's pre-cut and ready. Does your mom know about me going back with you, hon? Defendant. Dear, you're telling all this to my evil side since he is the one agreed to do it. Dear, I was open to her about that a long time ago, and she is letting me make life decisions by myself with you, hon. She trusts me. She just doesn't know the full, dear, heart. Full plan. Full plan, dear. Does her floor squeak, hon? Yes, he wanted me to ask you. Gypsy. No, hun, it's all carpet. Tell him my private parts are shaved. Defendant. Okay, baby, he is excited to do this. What about the rest of your bottom half? Is what he had me ask you. Gypsy. I will do my legs as soon as he knocks, hun. Defendant. Okay, baby, don't be alarmed if he speaks, because yes, it sounds evil, hun. Gypsy. Okay, darling. I'm going to go eat, hun. Defendant. That's daddy's good girl, heart, smiley face. Gypsy. I'm doing my nails too, winking face. Defendant. Well, dear, did say he expects you to look like his woman should, so that is a good idea, darling, heart. Red fingernail polish, hun? Dear, to please him, I suggest you wear red lipstick too, hun, heart. Just trying to help you out, baby, heart. Gypsy. I don't have any, hun. I'm painting a dark pink, hun. It goes with my pink boots. Defendant. Lip gloss, hun? Possibly pink if you want him to be a magnet to you, heart. Well, pink makes him a magnet to you, dear heart. Gypsy. I have pink lip gloss, hun. Defendant. If you want him to be a magnet to you, then wear it, dear heart. Gypsy. Okay, hun. Defendant. So will you, hun, or how do you wish to present yourself to him? Answer that question when you get the chance to, dear, as long as you answer it, heart. Hun, you still haven't answered that question. I'm still waiting. Gypsy. I'll just be in my nightgown with painted pink nails and lip gloss. Defendant. Okay, dear. But when he gets you from the bathroom, I suggest you are naked when he sees you after the deed. Gypsy. Okay, darling. I won't say goodnight online. I want to say it in person, hon. Defendant. That's understandable, darling, along with our first real goodnight kiss, sweetie, heart. Gypsy. Exactly, Daddy. Defendant. Aw, that never gets old when you call me Daddy, sweetie, heart. Gypsy. Smiley face. You should get some sleep, hon. Mom goes to bed at like 4 a.m. Defendant. Honey, I got too much sleep already. Gypsy. Okay, darling, heart. I'll wear you out, winking face. Defendant. Hon, don't forget you got to deal with my evil side first before we have our fun. So he may wear you out because if you forgot, he is the most sexual part of me, heart. Please don't forget that, dear. Then I wear you out even more, honey, heart. Gypsy. Okay, darling, I understand. Defendant. I'm glad you do, baby. I'll enjoy just being able to touch your silky skin, heart. Gypsy. I can't wait to be with you too, darling, but you know, if you want to wait for sex, we have all day tomorrow, just so you know. You know, after my deal. Defendant. Honey, our nicknames as a couple is Mr. and Mrs. Sex. So what do you think I'm thinking, dear? Gypsy. I know what you are thinking, hon. I have me as much as you can. Defendant. Darling, see, we're true to our nicknames as a couple, honey, heart. Because I know you won't want it any other way, honey, heart. Right, dear? Winking face? I guess you're not there, hon. Hope you're back soon. Gypsy. Right, darling, but can we take our time, hon? Defendant. We will be able to at the hotel, sweetheart, heart. Gypsy. Okay, good, sweetheart, heart. I hope I look pretty. Defendant. Honey, you'll always look appealing to me, heart. Gypsy. I hope so, hon. I'm shaking. I am nervous. I guess it's the if it all goes okay. Defendant. Baby, it will, and you better the not just romantic wife of mine, but also my twin flame female daughter soulmate that you were meant to be, honey, heart, smiley face. Gypsy. I am, Daddy, just as a backup. If it doesn't go right, run out of the house as fast as you can, hon. Defendant. Baby, there is no other option. He is going to finish her no matter what. That is how he is. Gypsy. Okay, darling, he is brave. I respect and admire that. Smiley face. Okay, darling, he is brave. I respect and admire that. How's the bed? Is it soft, hun? Defendant. Honey, you forgot, though, he is ruthless, and his hatred of her will force her to die, hun. You'll enjoy it, baby, heart. Gypsy. What will you be wearing, hun? Defendant. Something that will terrify her, hun. It's all black, and my evil side picked the full outfit, darling. Gypsy. Okay, darling, I just have to remember it's still you. Defendant. Yes, just the darkness in me, dear. Just like Ruby is the darkness in you, honey, heart. Gypsy. But after we comfort each other. Defendant. After we do that, sweetheart, I'll hold you like the baby girl of mine that you are, heart. Gypsy. And we will be happy soon after this night. We never bring it up. Defendant. Baby, we wouldn't accept for the part about us meeting, honey, heart. Gypsy. Right, hun. Defendant, I knew we were clicking on the right honey, heart. Right tone. Right tone, honey. I'm not sure what that character is supposed to be. Defendant, heart. Sorry for confusing you, dear, but I hope you know what I meant, heart. Hopefully you answer soon, dear. Wednesday, June 10th, that should be 2015.
And that was the same with the last one, the Tuesday, right? Should be 2015.
Yeah.
Right.
Gypsy, I know what you mean, hun. It's getting close to time she took her sleep aid pill. Defendant, okay, baby, I'm trying to calculate the money for the ride there. Gypsy, and once you're inside the house, we stay silent, not even a whisper, until after I open the bathroom door. Okay, sir? Okay, hun? Probably $10? Defendant, dear, never underestimate his will to kill, and also give your address so I make sure I have the right one, heart. Gypsy, I just want to say this, thank you. You're my hero, heart, and I will never leave you. I'm staying with you for eternity. 2103 West Volunteer Way, Springfield, Missouri, 65803. Defendant, okay, baby, but he hasn't said anything yet, dear. Thank you, sweetheart, heart. Gypsy, my house has the ramp, and the front porch ramp is painted white. Defendant, okay, dear. Gypsy, YW, you're welcome, my twin flame soulmate, heart. I have said my I love you to her, I'm at peace. Defendant, I'm proud of you, sweetie, and I'm glad I could help. Heart, smiley face. Gypsy, will you need a anxiety med to calm you after, hon? You're the most important person to me, sweetie. You are like me. Fight for what you want and need. Defendant, dear, I don't believe in meds in me. I seem to be immune to them, but you just do what I taught you, and I'll calm down if it is me. But just listen and obey my evil side, and you'll calm him down within time, heart. To them. Gypsy, I hope he loves me too, not just Ruby. I hope he loves me too, not just Ruby. I got pain med for my back, and I exercise my legs, so I'm a bit weak walking, but I'll build strength. Defendant, no, you mean to say you're like Daddy. It could be part of why you're a daddy's good girl, but you're more like Daddy than you may realize, dear, heart. Gypsy, I'm not used to my weight of walking. Gravity is new, LOL, laugh out loud. Defendant, I believe in you, honey, as I always have, so I know someday you'll walk completely normal, heart. Gypsy, I just realized the next New Year's I'll be able to kiss you, smiley face. I never had a New Year's kiss. I need to practice kissing. We are like two fish going for one hook. She's drifting off to sleep. Is there anything you need to know, hon? Defendant, and as for him loving you, my evil side does, however, you must obey him without question unless you don't know what to do. Otherwise, obey him without question, dear, and someday he'll worship you too, heart. Baby, we're natural at kissing, we just need time to prove it, heart. Gypsy, will he allow me to wet your penis before he takes me, hun? I don't know if he's gonna do anal or vag. I was hoping to do anal with you first. Defendant, not that I can think of, dear, except you are letting him in the front, darling. Gypsy, because at the hotel we can go slow. Oh, and you may not need to put on the gloves because we will sink it so it's never found. And yes, front. Defendant, dear, when he rapes, he takes all parts of the body, so he'll most likely do anal to you, hon. He is still going to put the gloves on, dear. Gypsy, will he at least put saliva so I don't get traumatized, hon? Defendant, remember to take my words to heart, dear. Just listen and obey him without question, and he won't traumatize you. But if you aren't a good girl, he will then do it. It just depends on how well you listen to him, dear heart. Gypsy, I'll listen to him, darling. It's go time. Are you ready? No matter what, I'm yours forevermore. Defendant, and thanks for answer the question, hon. So should I call the cab, dear? Gypsy, I love, adore, and worship you, my everything. Yes, darling, call the cab. Defendant, I understand, dear, as I am the same heart. I love, adore, and worship you too, my everything times infinity. Heart, smiley face, heart. Defendant, okay, baby, heart, see you soon, dear, heart. Gypsy, BTW, by the way, the gloves are blue, and how long must I hold my ears, hon? Defendant, 5 at the most, dear, and the next text will be from him, heart. Gypsy, okay, darling, I'll talk to you when this is all done. Defendant, yes, hon, heart. Gypsy, sir, will you text me once you're at the door with gloves on? She's sleeping very light. Defendant, I'm here and you get your ass to the bathroom. You open the door.
What time is that?
2:07 a.m. Gypsy, yes, sir, I'm going now, sir. Breeze once.
No further questions?
Me? Questions?
Yes, Your Honor. And going through some of those text messages, I guess at one point Nick says, I'm safe, hon, but I barely make it to you tomorrow. I'm under $200.
Okay.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. From what you remember,
Yes.
suffice to say there was concern about not having enough money.
It appears so.
And Gypsy moved the date out one day to make sure they had enough money, correct?
I object. The exhibit speaks for itself.
Your Honor, I will draw that question. Officer Costello, you testified earlier that you mark what's important and present it to the investigators, correct?
Try to, yes.
Okay, so you read through things and you kind of analyze it as you're going along.
It depends on what it is.
Okay. Did you analyze this type of stuff in this case?
Yes, but there's a difference between going through every little bitty thing and it generally. So like a lot of times I will give, like if there's a long conversation, I'll let the investigator read the conversation. I'll provide that to them to go through, even though I pulled the conversation off of one of the devices.
Okay. So you do more than just pull the conversations off the devices. You read through them, figure out what the detectives need to look at.
Sometimes, not every time.
Okay.
There's a lot of things that I deal with that ends up having thousands of messages involving people that I don't know who they are. So it's easier to have the investigator go through all of that than for me to.
Okay. But in this case, you went through quite a bit of it.
I took the pictures of the messages. I try and let them determine what messages are important. Obviously, with the Skype chats, those are messages between the two of them. That's obviously important. But some other things that take an extensive period of time to go through, I will let them do that.
Okay. Now, there were other conversations between Nick and Gypsy going on outside of what was in these text messages, correct?
Yes.
Could have been a Facebook conversation going on.
I don't have any of the Facebook conversations on the evidence that I analyzed.
Okay, there could have been a Google conversation going on somewhere.
Yeah, anything that's normally done in a web browser normally does not save to the computer.
Okay, so there could have been several different conversations between Nick and Gypsy going on at the same time in different formats.
Correct.
So we're only getting a glimpse of what their conversation was over those handful of weeks.
These are the conversations that I was able to come up with. How many others that there are, I don't know.
Okay. So that's why we don't have much context of what they're talking about, correct?
The context is what you saw.
Okay. And that's why it's a little bit confusing sometimes what they're talking about.
Yeah, I will let you be the judge on that.
Okay. There was a point where Nick's mom, I guess, contacted Gypsy. She was worried about Nick, presumably, correct?
There were messages indicating that.
Okay, so they were talking about Nick's mother, not Gypsy's mother, from what you could gather.
I believe so.
And how many phones have you gone through and analyzed before?
Like in my career,
Yes.
hundreds.
Hundreds, okay. Hundreds of computers as well?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Would you say that the verbiage, the text, what you read is similar to what would be found in a 13 or 14-year-old boy or girl's phone?
Object, speculation, relevance.
Well, if you've analyzed a 13-year-old boy or girl's phone, I'll allow you to answer if you think you can.
I don't pay attention to that kind of context in the conversations.
Thank you, sir.
Anything further for service?
Just one question is, in your experience, would it be normal for 13 and 14-year-olds to talk about dominant, submissive relationships in their texts?
Not normally.
Mr. Reed, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Members with us, be excused.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, officer. Do you have an additional witness?
We have one short witness.
All right.
Your Honor, the state called Willie Carroll.
All right.
Mr. Carroll.
Of course.
May I have Mr. Carroll come up?
Yes. Raise your hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause now pending before the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Have a seat.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Can you please state your name?
Willie Carroll.
Mr. Carroll, how are you currently employed?
I am currently a network engineer with the Greene County IT department.
What does a network engineer do?
The infrastructure of the network. We installed this IP or this AP in here not too long ago, so.
I don't know what an AP is.
Your wireless access.
Oh, okay. And how long have you had your current job?
I've been doing that since the end of July of this year.
What did you do before that?
I was a corporal with the Greene County Sheriff's Office.
And how long were you with the Greene County Sheriff's Office?
19 and a half years.
What were your duties as a corporal?
For the last 10 of that, it was the custodian of records for the inmate phone system, which included the inmate tablets and the video visits and everything that went with the tablets.
And when you began as custodian of records, was the only way inmates could communicate just over phone?
Yes, sir.
And then here in more recent years, has that expanded the different ways that they can communicate?
Yes, sir.
In addition to phone, what are the other ways that an inmate can communicate?
They can communicate through the tablet, and through the tablet they can either do essentially text messages or video visits.
And what's the name of the system that allows those video visits?
The system we currently use is called Telmate, Telmate.
And I know you've been, in your new job, is that the same system that was in effect back when you were with the Greene County Jail?
Yes, sir.
And when somebody has a video visit, an inmate does, is that visit stored somewhere?
Yes, sir.
How does that work?
Much like how the phone calls are stored, Telmate keeps them in a couple different areas, and then we're able to go pull them off to be able to review them.
And so if you're given the name of a specific individual, how would you search to see if he or she has made or had any video conversations?
With that one, we'd go ahead and log into the Telmate system and search by the individual's name that you gave us, or whoever gave us, the investigators.
And does the inmate use the tablet for video visits?
Yes, sir.
Is there any information that needs to be put in for that individual to be able to have the video visit?
For the visit to be scheduled, the inmate has to enter in their PIN number, basically kind of like an ATM card. They have their own individual PINs. They have to enter that in, and then whenever the visit occurs, they enter that in to get it scheduled or accept the visit, and then whenever the visit occurs, they have to do the same thing and accept the visit.
Then if you're given a task to obtain a video visit, can you then put it into a format that others can view it?
Yes, sir.
How do you do that?
It's fairly automated. You log in, and then you kind of like whenever you download a video or a song from the internet, you just click download, and it does it automatically, and it puts it into either a WAV file or an MP3 or 4. I don't remember which one it was. But I believe it was a WAV file.
And then you put that on a disc?
Yes, sir.
Now, have you, back when you were with the jail, did you ever access video conversations for an inmate named Nicholas Godejohn?
Yes, sir.
And specifically, did you obtain a video conversation or video visit that Mr. Godejohn had on January 9th of 2018?
Yes, sir.
And once you obtained that visit, did you put it onto a disc in the manner that you described?
Yes, sir.
At the time that you accessed that video visit and put it on a disc, was that Telmate system working properly?
Yes, sir.
No indication that it wasn't working properly? Carroll, I'm going to show you what I've marked as States Exhibit 180. Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir. That would be a copy of the video visit that you played for me, and I put my initials on it.
And you've seen the visit that is on States Exhibit 180?
Yes, sir.
And does it appear to be an interview with a journalist?
Yes, sir.
Due to where that journalist is located, is there somewhat of a delay between question and answer?
There is.
And is that common with that system, depending on where the other person is?
Yes, and their internet connections and that type of good stuff.
And is the portion of the conversation that's on State Exhibit 180 fair and accurate to the disc that you made?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, the state would seek to admit State Exhibit 180
I'll admit it over objection previously stated.
and may it be published.
Yes, I'm going to stand down there so I can see it the way the TV screen is.
You know my chair, sir?
No, I never went back there.
Inside the house, like, did Gypsy open the door to you and like let you in? Like, she was obviously.
Oh yeah, she was deeply involved with it. I mean, just like it says in his plea statements, like I said, right when I was talking to them, it says just pretty much word for word what I told them. She told me before I ended up getting there in a text that there was latex gloves that'd be on the porch. She did say that. Right on the text, it's clear as day. You can actually see it. And then, well, I ended up finding them when I got there, and I let her know that I was at the door. She opened the door, and she made sure I had the gloves on before she gave me the weapon, and she made sure that she wouldn't let me open the door. She made sure I had those gloves on before either of those doors opened. So that's the reason why you ain't going to see any fingerprints on any of that stuff. And then from that point on, well, my darker part of me took over, and because she knew right away that I admitted straight out to the whole thing that I was not going to get involved with this, no matter how much she tried to push me. There was going to have to be a darker side of me of some form that I have never had the opportunity to explore. So I did not know what it was capable of until that dark night. Once that night came, I knew fully well what it was capable of. And at that point, there was no time going back because from the first step I walked into the house, I knew there was no going back. There was two thoughts that came in my mind. One was a benevolent thought, and the other one was a malevolent thought. It was almost like having a devil on one shoulder and an angel on the other. Basically what happened was I had one thought in my mind out of nowhere appear, and it just appeared. I didn't know. It was almost like, I guess you could call it God, is what everyone likes to call it. Him talking to you, or an angel talking to you, through him maybe. Basically saying, take her and run. That was the benevolent thought. Take her and run. As if it was the kind of feeling that was basically trying to influence on me, as if I was somehow going to get away with it if I ran away with her. As if somehow we were able to keep her mom at bay, better than she was able to in the past when she ran away. However, the other thought came in my mind was because it saw as basically because the darker part of me was also in love with the darker part of her. And because of it, the thought was, excuse my French, but it basically said, this bitch is dead. Not letting her be between me and her, this bitch is dead. Basically is what the thought was. And unfortunately, I ended up listening to my darker side because I wanted to be with her, and I remember what she said, and I wanted to believe what she was saying, and unfortunately, I should have listened to my other part of me. As ironic as I was trying to influence her to go with, but she never went with it. She never wanted to run away, so I couldn't get back to work. But anyways, as the whole thing happened, she ended up, as I was walking through the hallway that led to her room, her mom's room, and so forth, she ended up going to the hall bathroom. She locked it, and I waited at least a minute and thought about if I really wanted to do it. And before I was to do it, allegedly, there was a willing to do it. The next thing I know, I ended up going right into it and thought there was no going back because I already had myself on my word, and I was not one to break my word to really anyone at all if I had one to keep at the time. If it was worth keeping, I was going to keep it. And that's what led me
No,
to
the
do
video's
it.
going to cut off in a
I
minute.
loved her so
But
deeply that
remember whatever you just did to
I
that thing. And should we try
didn't want
it
to break my
tomorrow?
Oh,
Bye.
okay. Yep. All right. Sounds good.
Your Honor, I don't have any further questions.
Thank you. Does the may this witness be excused?
On behalf of the state, yes. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Do you have any additional evidence?
Your Honor, at this time, the state rests.
Ladies and gentlemen, the state has rested their presentation in this matter at this time. So we're going to adjourn for the evening. We'll return tomorrow at 9:15 downstairs, like we always do, hoping to start up close to 9:30. At tonight's recess, I want to again remind you of what you were told at the first recess of the court. Until you retire to consider your verdict, you must not discuss this case among yourselves or with others, or permit anyone to discuss it in your hearing. You should not form or express any opinion about the case until it is finally given to you to decide. Do not do any research or investigation on your own about any matter regarding this case or anyone involved in the trial. Do not communicate with others about the case by any means. Do not read, view, or listen to any newspaper, radio, electronic communication from the internet, or television report of the trial. So we'll recess for the evening and we'll resume tomorrow. If you could be there at 9:15, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
All right, please be seated. Mr. Carroll.
I do have a request for judgment of acquittal, closing the state's case. It is our position the state has not presented sufficient evidence from which a jury could conclude that Mr. Godejohn committed murder in the first degree. Specifically, the state is going to have to present evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant committed the alleged act after deliberation upon the matter. That term is defined as cool reflection for any period of time, no matter how brief. And I cited in my motion State versus Terry, which is a case that says deliberation is not a question of time. An instant is sufficient. And the reference to cool reflection does not require the defendant to be detached or disinterested. Instead, the element of deliberation serves to ensure that the jury believes the defendant acted deliberately, consciously and not reflexively. And I think, given the evidence presented, it's pretty obvious that he did not deliberate. It's also pretty obvious that he did not act reflexively. So it is our position that the state has not presented enough evidence from which a jury could conclude that he deliberated, and I don't think the issue of first-degree murder should be presented to the jury. I think they should be presented only second-degree murder and other lesser homicides.
Thank you. Does the state wish to present rebuttal or simply rely on the evidence as presented?
State will rely on the evidence as presented.
Viewing the evidence in a light most favorable to the state, which is the standard on this type of motion, I'm going to deny your request, subject to renewal, Mr. Perry, at the close of all evidence.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Godejohn, would you raise your right hand? Do you swear that the answers to the questions about to be asked of you will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. You can put your hand down. How old are you?
29.
And how far did you go to school?
To high school.
Through high school. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Thank you. So you're able to read, write, and understand the English language. Are you today under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No.
I know that there's some health issues at this time that we've heard some testimony about. Do those affect your ability to understand what I'm saying to you at this point in time?
Not at this very second, no.
Okay. If at any time they do, would you let me or your attorney know?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, you have a right to testify in this matter or not testify. The decision as to whether or not you testify is your decision alone, not your attorney's. Do you understand that right?
Yes, sir.
If you decide to testify, your attorney would be able to ask you questions, and the state would have an opportunity to cross-examine you. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, if you elect not to testify, no comment about your silence could be made by the court or the state to the jury. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
If requested, I would provide an instruction to the jury telling them, in essence, that they cannot in any way consider that against you. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, have you had enough time to talk about the decision of whether or not to testify with Mr. Perry, or do you need more time?
I've given it thought.
You don't have to tell me if you're going to now or not. I was just asking if you had enough time to talk with Mr. Perry and Mr. Meade about it.
I might need more.
You don't need more time?
I might need more.
You might need more. Okay. Well, why don't we do this? I just want to make sure that you understand what your rights are. Do you have any questions of me concerning that?
I can't think of any.
Okay. Well, we'll resume this conversation tomorrow after other witnesses have testified, and that'll give you a chance to talk with Mr. Perry about it, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Is there any further record you want at this time, Mr. Perry, on that issue?
Okay.
All right, Mr. Patterson?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other issues we need to address?
No, sir.
And you're going to present evidence, I think you told me, is that correct at
We
this point?
anticipate evidence tomorrow.
So if we could start up about 9:30 with your first witness,
I'm sure we could.
and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Thank you, all appreciate it. Rochelle, you were a peach. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Sorry. When you comments are properly, you want to have to schedule. That way you won't have to.
You would.
Thank you, guys.